That's not the case, although it is a lot harder than it is with Unity to make anything other than a first-person shooter. Um, with UDK, uh, it's a lot more robust. I guess I could say it's not as straightforward. The learning curve is definitely a lot uh, steeper, I should say. But it definitely pays off. I mean, you can do some incredible stuff with Unreal, and it's very, very powerful. Right off the bat, though, one big advantage it does have for people trying to get in who don't know how to program is that this has for free a visual editor included, and they call it Kismet, which is basically if you don't know how to make stuff work and how to program stuff, or you don't want to learn Unreal Script, you have a very similar setup here to what I had showed you with the world editor. So you have a new action, boom. What's the trigger for this? Is it a AI is going to do something, or is it going to, sorry, actually that's event. The event is the trigger. So you have an actor that is destroyed or takes damage, or you have an input that you get from a mobile phone, because you can make mobile games here. I'll get into that in a bit. So if something happens, basically, what conditions are you going to check for? Did a player do it? Is there a comparison that you're going to check? For example, if you're making a shooter game, if you get shot, it would be the action, and if your life is less than a certain amount, then you're going to trigger your shields or whatever. That would be the action. Matinee is an animation system, so you can fully integrate your animation into the code using this visual editor. And variables. Variables are store information like players or character models, positions in the world, objects, stuff you make up like hit points or whatever you want to put in there. And you can do comments, so you know what you're doing. So this is one big advantage that UDK has, is that even though it's potentially deeper and more complex, they do have this visual editor here so that you can get started really quickly. The other advantage it has is that it includes a lot of stuff already from Unreal Tournament. There's a couple of maps that they made available to you. And if you look under, for example, I won't get into what these are, but static meshes basically are objects in the world that don't move. So they make up all the objects. What am I doing wrong here? Is it in the engine? Static meshes are basically... What the heck? Hold on here. One sec. Oh, okay. I had a filter on. What a noob. Alright, cool. So they include a lot of stuff. They have a couple demo maps, and basically all of the assets that go with those maps are included in here. So I think they have like two Unreal Tournament maps, one little room that's like a test map, and they have a map that's like features engine features. But they have all the assets for that in here, so you can make stuff really quickly and block out levels just with the stuff they give you if you don't want to make your own stuff, or you can't make your own stuff or whatever. There's like a water pole they included here and stuff. Most of the time I don't even know what these are. It looks like a belt or something. Personally not a big fan of the art style for a lot of these, but who cares? It's all there, it's free, and Epic's been cool enough to include it over here for you, so might as well use it. It's really high quality stuff, so can't complain about that. So anyway, that comes included here with UDK, and it has a very powerful editor. Again, you can do stuff in real time, but if you're making your own code from scratch, that's where things get a little hairy. Unreal, or UDK I should say, was kind of looks like it was set up to be a mod tool. I would imagine big companies, when they license this engine, they basically remake the tools from scratch. So they don't have to worry about this. But for independent developers or hobbyists or whatever, it's a little bit of a burden. But if you get to know Unreal, you basically, I mean, in Unity you have to write everything from scratch anyway. With Unreal Development Kit, you can extend from a lot of stuff that they've already made, and this is all basically programmer stuff. So if you're not a programmer, cover your ears. You can extend a lot of stuff that they've made already, and all those classes you have access to. Basically, all the classes and behaviors from Unreal Tournament are in here. So you can heavily modify those, or you can build it from scratch. The documentation isn't quite as good for Unreal Script and as it is for C#, because C# has a much wider usage, I guess, which is what Unity uses primarily. You can still get around. It's just a little more work getting your project set up and all that, because you have to derive from the Unreal classes. But if you can work around that, if you know enough about programming, you should be okay. But for newcomers, it's a little more involved than Unity would be. Also, there's no built-in script editor. You have to get like something like Visual Studio and then download an add-on so that it understands Unreal Script, and then you can compile stuff inside of it does have its own compiler and debugger. Let's see what else. Oh, like I was saying earlier, you can switch project to mobile. You can create mobile games on here, and that's kind of a new thing. I think it came out 4 months ago. So now you can make iOS games. You can't do Android. That's something that kind of bugs me, because I'm a big Android fan. But you can make iOS stuff, so there is some options for mobile. Navigation around UDK is a little more... It's cool for games because you can move around like in first-person shooter mode and fly around. Some of the other controls aren't quite as intuitive, but you get the hang of it after a while. And you can play straight from the viewports here, like you could in Unity, or you can launch the game standalone right here, or you can just launch a new window. That's all up to you. Another big advantage that Unity has, or sorry, that UDK has over Unity is blocking out levels. UDK has something built in called BSP. Basically, it's just blocks that let you quickly create levels. So, like, let's say I want to just quickly block out a room here. I would take this brush, create the walls, and then I can go inside. So there's two modes. There's additive and subtractive. So if I go in here, I gotta go into geometry mode. So I can take this this brush and basically carve out parts of the room with it, and just very quickly create rooms. My mouse is being a little twitchy right now, so it's not the editor. So you can quickly block out some rooms here and start playing your map right away, even with no graphics or anything. I'll show you in Unity the equivalent here in a second so you can see. So here, just real quickly, I made a room. And I can continue to subtract out doors from this room or whatever I want to do. Throw in a light, which also has a big advantage. The light mapping, if you are familiar with the term, in UDK is so much easier. I'm not sure, I think this uses light mask. Unity has a beast built in, but it's really tricky. This to me works a lot more intuitively in UDK, so it's a matter of preference though, so you may like it either way. But here it is in Unity. You don't have anything like that, so you basically have to make primitives and just kind of stack them like Legos to make your levels, which is kind of cool, but the problem is that you can grab these individual walls and add materials to them, and you can edit the UVs, so basically you can texture stuff so that it looks right on BSP, whereas here you're creating objects in Unity, like let's say a cube. This cube, this is the shape of it. If you change the shape, like if you go and you extend it, you're stretching out the texture. So when you put a texture on that, it's going to stretch across here. And there's no way to really fix that because there's no UV editor or anything like that built into Unity. So There are, I think, some tools you can download that are add-ons that will help you with that, but it's not built in, and it's kind of a drag. So on the flip side, like, it's so easy to run stuff in real time that you could be working on your map in a different package, like 3D Studio Max, for example, and it would be updating in real time inside of Unity. So you do have that advantage if you want to work like that. This map was made, I think he made it in, there's the plug you put in there. I think he made this in 3D Studio Max, so he didn't even use the Unity tools. But who knows, maybe if Unity had the tools, he would have used that. So that's just something to look out for. Again, it's I think for different projects, each one has their own strengths and weaknesses depending on what you're trying to achieve. If you're going for quick, something that you have to iterate really quickly and get out there really quickly, get a game running fast, Unity is the way to go. If you have a little bit more time on your hands, you're working on a bigger project or something a little more, something that requires more power, I guess, Unreal would be the way to go. But I think that the gap in graphics between Unity and other engines is being bridged pretty quickly. Unity is making strides towards making something that will look as good as the other engines. And don't get me wrong, you can make some really amazing looking stuff with Unity as it is now. But it's you get the feeling it's not quite optimized in the same way, so it is a little extra work. Like I said, it's a little more hacky. The more you delve into it, the hackier it gets. But they're working on that stuff. UDK has the advantage that it's just the big, the guy with the biggest wang in town. It's the standard for the industry, you could say. I mean, there's a lot of engines out there, but a lot of the big games are made in Unreal. So I think that covers most of the intro. It's like I said, a lot and not that much at the same time. I just wanted to go over like the differences between these two. So again, you could mod a game, you could start something from scratch here in Unity or Unreal. That's really up to you. If you need help with either one, Unity has a really cool community. I've seen the CEO of Unity Technologies post here and help people very frequently, which is pretty interesting. They have a pretty big community support team. Well, I don't know if they're big, but it seems that way because they're very active. But the community itself is willing to lend a hand. So this is all stuff here just from within the last day. And you go on here and how do I add colors to a mesh? And there's a bunch of answers, people trying to help you out. And they have some specific areas for GUI, scripting, networking, Android specific, iOS, shaders, other tools, blah blah blah. We like to showcase work that people have done with their engine. So there's a showcase section here that you can use, and they also have a section on their website. UDK, on the other hand, is how should I put it? A little more loosely knit group of people. You'll find a lot of professionals on here. A lot of people are very helpful, but I don't know. It's a little intimidating, I guess, if you're new, because there's so many people here that are very, very skilled. So when you come in here and you know very little, I don't know. There's some people that will be less than helpful to you, so just beware. Don't let it turn you away from asking questions, though, because there are some cool people on here that'll help you out. And you can see, there's all these tutorials that people made on their, just of their own initiative, just to help out the community. On the other side, the documentation is all over the place. You can quickly search for something you're looking for here, but you can tell that there's a lot of stuff that is just outdated. It's from the Unreal Tournament 3 days before they released UDK. So some of the stuff doesn't apply, even though they're replacing a lot of it and adding stuff. As far as documentation goes, you never know exactly really what you're looking at, because it feels to me like it was, even though it's the same engine, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely more geared towards modding than anything else. The newer stuff, obviously, with UDK having come out, the newer stuff is more less specific, but a lot of the old stuff is like how to edit, basically how to mod stuff. There's very little on how to write code from scratch or anything like that, but you can look up their code and or the documentation for Unreal Script, and